Geometry. I prove a theorem and the house expands. The windows jerk free to hover near the ceiling floats away with a sigh. As the walls clear themselves of everything but transparency, the scent of carnations leaves with them. I am out in the open, and above, the windows have hinged into butterflies, sunlight glinting where they've intersected. They are going to some point true and unproven.
That was Geometry from Rita Dove's selected poems, currently available from Vintage. Rita Dove also has a recent collection called Mother Love, a novel, Through the Ivory Gate, and she's here in New Jersey now for the production of her play, The Darker Face of the Earth, which is being done at the Crossroads Theater in New Brunswick. We'll see a scene from that later. Welcome, Rita Dove.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
That intersection that you mention in Geometry, the intersection between in and out and someplace and no place, is something that you write a lot about.
I do. I mean, I think that's where everything happens, where two things with which you are familiar intersect and make something new. And it can be anything from just an ordinary day where something, an ordinary person that you know crosses your path and suddenly things change. Or it can be the intersection of an idea with a new genre, such as playwriting. I write a lot about it, it's true, so I thought that poem would be appropriate.
How do you know when a poem is finished?
Oh, you never know, really. I think you either grow exhausted from it, or you feel like it is time, like a child, the poem walk on its own feet.
Is there a ritual? Do you read it aloud, or do you put it in a drawer or send it to your publisher? How do you finish it?
Well, I usually finish my poems, first of all, by putting them in a drawer or letting them sit for a while and reading them at the most inhospitable times possible. So for me, that's very early morning. And if it can stand that test, then I think that perhaps it's ready to take the test of, you know, someone else's eyes who has no vested interest in the poem whatsoever. But time is the most important factor for me to separate myself from the poem.
You've talked about yourself as essentially a shy person, and you have been thrust into the limelight a lot in your life.
Yes,
and
true.
You seem so utterly poised to me. Were you always this poised and confident?
Oh, please. No. I'm not even poised and confident at this moment. But my grandmother used to always say, you never let them see you sweat. And, you know, you just have to, you do your best. And if you're doing your best, what do you have to worry about? Now, she was an extrovert, but I really think a lot about her in these kind of situations, because I think, well, nobody wants to see me stutter or get nervous, so there's no sense even indulging that shyness. Yeah.
You've yourself had an education in the classics and a lot of Shakespeare. I know you love Shakespeare, and I want to take this around to your play, which is, well, bears a lot of resemblance to the Oedipus story.
Yes, it does, yes.
And I'm wondering why you chose that as a theme. I mean, it's the Oedipus story set in slave times. Why you chose that as the theme, and why you chose the play as your form instead of something else?
These are questions I've been asking myself because, like many revelations afterwards, you're trying to figure out how it happened. It's a case of several lines intersecting again. One, my love of the classics, and it's true, when I was growing up there was this huge edition of the collected plays of Shakespeare, and it was the biggest book in the house, so I thought, I gotta read this one. And I began reading Shakespeare before anyone told me it was difficult, thank goodness, because you figure it out. And with that along came other classics. I had read the Greek classics as well. They always perplexed me slightly as a child. They seemed so determined, you know.
And so fierce.
And fierce, yes, very fierce. And unfair,
yes.
too. I mean, Oedipus, how this poor baby.
How did he know?
I know, he was a baby. They say, oh, you're going to marry your mother, kill your father. Yeah. That's it. He had no choice, you know. And I thought, this is not fair. And this seems like a nice guy. And he's trying to get the, you know, the Theban people together. But he's doomed. So when I was young, I didn't like that because it just seemed so unfair. And yet it also kept haunting me all my life. Why does it still fascinate me? One day, as I was thinking about Oedipus Rex, sounds so silly, as I was thinking about Oedipus Rex, but as I was thinking about this play again, I decided to try to figure out if there was anything in modern times that was analogous to the Greek idea of fate, something where this situation could happen without someone knowing it. And it dawned on me that in slavery, with slavery where if someone turned out to be a mixed child, everyone could know it and still never say it. You know, sell the child, get them out of the way.
And it was, in a way, a curse.
It was a curse. It was a curse, and there was nothing you can do about it. You were born with it, and you know you're going to get punishments meted out to you. It have nothing to do with you. And that's where the germ of the play, that's where it started.
Well, I don't want to give away the ending, but we've kind of given away the beginning in that it does deal with a child who's born with that curse.
Yes.
But we have a scene from the play, which I would like to close with today. But I first want to thank you so much for being here, and I wish you tremendous success with the play and all of your other future projects.
Thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure.
And now here's a scene from The Darker Face of the Earth.
Massa stood up from the porch swing and said to himself, I think I'll make me another bright-eyed pickaninny. Then he stretched and headed for my mother's cabin. And now that pickaninny who started out no more than the twinkle in a white man's eye, shame between his mama's legs, now he stands in the parlor of another massa, entertaining the pretty mistress with stories of whipping